AI writing. That is the name of the game these days. There's a lot of tools out there with ChatGPT, Claude. There's a million different third-party tools that help you write AI content for your website. But you got to be careful because Google will demote you if the content is bad quality. I think one common misconception is that AI content alone will get you demoted by Google. I think it's more about quality. So if the AI content is bad AI content, you're going to get demoted. But if you write AI content that's high quality, it's been edited, it's been reviewed, it makes sense when you read it, it doesn't sound purely like AI, then I think you'll have a better chance of ranking overall. So one tool, listen, I've tried all the tools. We've experimented with just about every AI tool that's come out over the past year or so, 1 to 2 years. This has kind of been the tool that I've been settling on of late, probably the last 6 months. It's called SEO Writing AI. And the reason I like this is because, well, first of all, they've added a bunch of features to it. So they have a tool that humanizes content. So they'll take an article and basically rewrite it to just make it sound more natural. But they also have a really quick, if you're just looking for a kind of a quick and dirty AI option, they have a one-click blog post option that's actually pretty good quality. So let's say our target keyword is dog training tips. From there, you can generate a title, effective dog training tips for happy pups. That's perfectly fine for now. You can obviously change that however you want. And here's the core settings that sort of set the tone for the entire piece of content you're writing. So for this example, we're going to say it's US English, but they also have different kinds of English. They have other languages as well. You can set the article size. So let's say in this case, we want to do a small size, which is anywhere from 1,200 to 2,500 words or so. This is usually good enough for most content. Tone of voice. They give you all these options here as far as how you want to fine tune the writing style. I usually will either leave it at friendly or do professional. Those, I think, seem to be kind of the best styles for most pieces of content. Point of view, I usually leave it at none, or I'll do we, because a lot of times if you're writing for a brand, you want it to come off as we do this, we believe in this, we do that kind of a thing. Target country, let's say it's the US. So the AI model, this is really where you can make or break things. They give a lot of options for different models here that I really like. The two best being GPT-4 128K Turbo or Claude 3 Opus. I think I'm becoming more of a Claude fan than I am ChatGPT in general. So let's say we're going to use Claude 3 Opus. Now this is the most expensive AI model to use as well. You can see here it's going to cost you 10 generations and use up 10x the word count of some of the smaller ones. So just be mindful of that. Not a big deal, but you just got to be a little mindful of that. And there's the option to humanize the text, within the post, within the blog. You can set grade levels here. I usually leave it at 8th and 9th grade. This is the recommended version to leave it at, so I just do that. And then you can add special details. You can say, this is a page for a brand called, Acme Dog Training. Speak about dog training from their standpoint. So it's similar to in ChatGPT when you write out a prompt, you can feed it extra details like that. Then it has these options here. So this is pretty cool. It can create AI images for the post, which can be useful. Usually you'll want to use a brand's images to really enhance that authority from their side. You can also add YouTube videos. So you can embed videos kind of showing some dog training type of stuff. And you can fine tune how you want them to appear and all that sort of thing. We can just leave this as is for now. NLP keywords generation. So this is going to give you just some LSI, some semantically related keywords to our main keyword, which was dog training tips. So just gives you some extra keywords to include. You can add on to this. You can add whatever you see fit is important to include. And then the introductory parts, this is a new feature that I really like. So you can start out the content with a question like, have you struggled with dog training? Did you know that dog training is a simpler process than you may have believed? You get the idea. You can start it out with a question like that, or you can do a stat. Stats are great, like 43% of dogs are not properly trained. Or an anecdote, story. You got to be a little careful with this because sometimes it'll just pull random stories from people online that aren't really relevant to what you're trying to do. I'll usually start out with a question just to keep it safe, because even with the statistics, sometimes they'll be inaccurate or they won't be relevant. And then as far as the structure itself, I usually turn italics off and bolds off, quotes typically turn off, and then I leave the rest of the stuff here. The rest of the stuff here is fine. So we're allowing it to create tables. So sometimes it'll create tables, data tables with certain data points. It'll have bullet pointed lists potentially. It'll have a key takeaway section on the top. It'll have an FAQ section on the bottom. So yeah, typically I'll leave all that stuff in. And then down here, another thing you can do is if you have your WordPress site connected, it will automatically seek out internal link opportunities. I haven't experimented with that yet, but I could see where that would be valuable if you don't have a ton of time and you're trying to just have it basically find the best internal links quickly for you. There's also external linking now. For this, I usually choose automatic. And yeah, you can link out to, let's say you just want to link out to a couple credible sources. You do 1 to 2, evenly throughout is fine, no follow. Contextual enrichment, yes. So just kind of leave it standard as is. Connect to the web. They have 2 modes here. So the basic web, I think, is good for getting some basic information, for lack of a better term. But the deep web stuff, I feel like this would be a little better for it. Like, let's say you're writing a more scientific topic or something that's a little bit, that requires kind of a deeper analysis. This might be a better option. But usually I'll just use basic web. And then the search source, I'll use real-time search. So it's pulling exactly what's currently in the search results for you. Now that this is all set, we're going to go up here and we're going to hit run. And it will take just a few minutes. So it only took about 5 minutes, and now we can look at the content here. So it's 1,791 words. We can look at the meta tags here. So this is basically the page title, the meta title, and the meta description. We can obviously optimize these on our end, so that's fine. But you can read through the content here, and you can kind of get an idea for the quality. So obviously, here's our title, Effective Dog Training Tips for Happy Pups. Are you finding it tough to teach your new puppy basic obedience commands? Wondering how to stop behavior problems before they start? Proper dog training is key to having a well-behaved canine that makes your life happier. But where do you begin? This is honestly pretty good. And this was, remember, we asked it to ask us a question at the beginning. We wanted it to pose a question and kind of get the ball rolling that way. So this is perfect. I don't think a writer could really do much better than that. It's early in the morning. Puppy training is about teaching basic commands like sit, come, and stay. Using positive reinforcement like treats, toys, or affection is a great way to keep your pup eager to learn. It's also vital to socialize your puppy, exposing them to new people, dogs, sounds, and places while teaching them good manners. This is great. And then it gets into this article, we'll cover it. Plus, we have a key takeaways section here. So this key takeaways is great for, from what I've seen, it helps users kind of stay on the page longer, especially if this is towards the top, because they get a sense of what is in the article. So they can kind of skip through the article and just find the sections that are really relevant to them. So I like the key takeaways section. But as we scroll through, we can see how this post is basically laid out. The YouTube video it includes, like we had asked it to. Here's the table, like we had, told it was okay to do. Even the AI images, honestly, that's not terrible AI. This was AI as well. Those are not bad AI images of dogs. I think those could be used. I really do. Another table there. The person looks okay. I don't know. This is not a terrible image. I really like SEO writing. I think it's a really useful tool for writing a lot good quality AI content, especially now that you can plug into that Claude Opus model. For example, here was a post we wrote using SEO Writing AI with very little editing on our end, and it's still ranking #1 for SEO prices NZ. So again, and this is a post where it includes a lot of ranges and things like that, which it kind of pulled, I think, from some of the other top results. But it's not a bad post. It's really not bad, and it's still ranking, like I said. So yeah, it's becoming easier to use and more practical in a lot of ways. Like SEO Writing AI, I believe, starts at about $19 a month. So it's extremely reasonable. Now you're going to use up more credits using those higher models, but in my opinion, it's totally worth it to get that better quality. It's going to help you, it's going to give you a better chance of ranking. It's going to give you a better chance of avoiding the whole spam updates that Google releases from time to time. So yeah, you could use ChatGPT by itself. That's totally fine as well. And I know some people who've written some amazing prompts to make it seamless to use. But for me, I like to leverage a tool like this where you're going to pay a little more, but it's going to do a lot of that legwork for you, and it's going to create really good outputs. So yeah, if you have any other questions about AI writing or anything in general, let us know. We'll have some links in the description you can check out. We'll talk to you soon.